So actually, this is the name of mine and my girl's reptile breeding name. Our little company thing is going to be Glorious Predators, designed with the magnificent in mind. So yeah, he's still checking her out. And so like I said, I was making this video just to help out those people that are really curious about how to introduce the male to the female, how to get this process going. Like I've learned this year, and I have both these females are like almost 100% positive that they're gravid. Breeding season starts about November and it extends all the way through April. It's good to start pairing them off, start introducing them one to another as early as October. Like I mentioned earlier, I had this orange ghost stripe. He's been around this female pretty much most of his life. He was stacked on top of her, so the smell, they can smell each other the entire time. So when I introduced him, he went straight to work, and that's a good thing. If you want to pair two snakes together, house them right next to each other, they'll smell each other through the vent, they'll start getting used to one another, so it makes it a lot easier, and you don't get all the piss, tail wagging, and the rest of that. Ages, he's not even a year old, but he's producing sperm plugs. The female is 3 years old. I've heard them start to breed as early as two and a half years old, but she's 3, and that's usually the recommended age is 3 years old. One of the other things that you want to start doing is you also want to make sure that you're feeding her enough. She's going to need to bulk up and gain a little bit of weight, so that when she goes through this whole process, it's taxing on the female. So they usually want to eat a lot. And some of the guys, all they do really is just feed them until they stop eating, and once they go off food, they introduce the male. I use this vivarium. It's a VE 300 X2, and so what that does is it has night drop capability, and I keep my temperatures at 84, 85, and I drop it 7 degrees. And what that does is it will help the female's body signal that breeding season is coming around, and she'll start to build follicles, which is basically the little, it's like a pre-egg. So she's basically going to be getting ready for a male. And like I also mentioned before, you start pair them every 3 to 4 days, and remove them, offer them food, and repeat. If they eat, of course, you want to give them an extra 2 days to digest that. You want to put them all in, they're all full like that. But I mean, it still might work. I just want to do it because I don't like risking regurgitation. So after a while, the male will lose interest. The female will start to swell up, and she'll go through her ovulation. And at that point, when she goes through that, she'll swell up. It'll look like she ate something, even if she haven't fed her, and she'll get pretty thick, and then she'll go into a shed. Once she sheds, it'll be about 30 to 40 days after that she'll drop her eggs. This is what I'm told. I have not witnessed it yet, but my girl up here, she went into a shed about 5 days ago after swelling up that way. So I'm figuring by December 12th, 13th, that'll be the 30 days after. I'll be hoping for eggs after that, although this guy is very interested still. Some males are still going to try to breed. Some males realize when she's already pregnant, she's already gravid, would be the correct word, and they lose interest. Other than that, that's about it. You know, this is the way I've learned to do it. This is how I do it. I'm sure there's other methods out there, so if you want to explore and see what else is out there, this is a good entry level if you want to learn a little bit on how to do that. I've also built these cages, and I'll be doing a video on how to build another one. These are 8 foot by 3 foot deep. This one's a 6 foot. So, all right, and signing out. Making this video just to show some people how to introduce their male reticulated python to the female. There's been a lot of questions. And so I have a female. She is possibly gravid, but I have a male male orange ghost stripe. And ever since he went into breeding mode, he has started to bite everything. He attacks everything, including himself. So that's why you see this glove here. I'm holding him. I got the hook here. And so the way you want to introduce this guy into this female, if you want to, no. You want to let the female know that there is no food coming into her cage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this glass off here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly, since she's already hook trained, I'm just going to let her know that there's no food coming in. Hopefully you've hook trained your retics or your snakes, and they know that that means there's no food coming in, and she does. Then I'm going to go ahead and introduce this guy. I'm going to watch him. Yeah, this is a welder's glove from Harbor Freight Tools. This does the trick when you absolutely need it. And he should be good to go. Some of the signs that you'll see if she's not being receptive is she'll start wagging her tail, she'll start pissing all over the place. These two are actually very familiar with each other. His cage was housed on top of hers ever since he was about 3 months old. So they're very well familiar. She's 3 years old, and she's already, I've introduced him before, so she's possibly already gravid. One of the other things to watch here is the temperatures. If you can see the temperatures here, I have them also set at the nighttime drop. You see she's a little twitching. She's not really, he's going to want to try to breed her, but she's already went through an ovulation shed, and I'll explain that a little bit later. The temperatures are set at 84 degrees. Most of my retics don't really, how do you say, bask in that area. They tend to go over to the 78 area, which is on the opposite side of the cage. This is a 6-foot cage. She's right at the 12-foot mark. He's at the 6-foot mark there. Chances are she's already pregnant, because this is not the first time I've introduced them. So he's going to realize that she's already gravid. So he'll just back off, go to his side, and probably just stay there. I'm going to leave him in overnight, maybe a day or two, just to double check. But if you can see, she looks pretty swollen right there. And like I said, the purpose is just to show you, if you've never seen how to introduce these guys together. This is how I've learned to introduce them. This is my first year. I have a lemon glow female down here, and she has some nuggets in the corner there, but she's pretty thick here as well. She's about the size of a truck tire, and hopefully she'll be going into a pre-lay shed pretty soon. But that's it. I'll explain the rest a little bit later. He's almost a year old, but he was already producing sperm plugs, so we put him in just to see what would happen and give it a try. And sure enough, he went to work right away, faster than some of my older males. She is a phantom sunfire het for purple, possible het for genetic stripe. So hopefully we'll get some nice cows out of this pair here, this breeding pair. He's come over to check her out a couple times, but he just turns away and just really taking in the environment again. A lot of times these guys will not go to work until it's dark. I mean, literally, I've had a camera set up in here just to watch and see if it happens, but in the morning you come back and sometimes they're locked already, or lights go out, because my lights are on timers. The lights will go out, and not too long after that they start doing their thing. So if you don't see them getting together, if the male goes to the opposite side of the cage and the female stays over on one side, don't worry about it. I had that on my first breeding, and my friend John West said just go ahead and leave them in there, so I did, and sure enough, the next morning they were all cuddled up. I continued to pair them for 3 or 4 days, and you remove them after that, offer them food. He stopped eating. He hasn't been eating. This is not this is my Lemon Glow and Golden Child pairing. But after that, you go ahead and you introduce them back. If they eat, of course, you want to give them a couple of days to digest before you put them back in. But you just keep on doing that until you see her start to swell up there a little bit. And I've noticed that my females will no longer be interested in anything. I can go into the cage, I can clean something out. They're not really interested in me being in there. They don't care if I'm in there. They don't care if I'm not in there. So just some things to look at, but just keep that in mind. I mean, this is, like I said, this is new to me as well, and but there's a lot of questions, and it is hard to get help. Not everyone is willing to help you and take the time to go ahead and talk with you about it, and especially if you're not their customer. So if this can help somebody get started, that's gonna be great.